Okay, today's January 27th, and as promised, here's a little update. I got the first of my frames laid out here. This is frame 24. And I really debated what to do here. It's a lot of cutting and measuring, and you got to be fairly precise here on these things. And you know, George says in his book that you can go with 2x material, just a single layer of 2x material. But he actually recommends 2.5-inch material for these frames. But you can get by with 2x, he says, you know, 1.5-inch material. So I thought about just doing that. And then putting the conventional 1-inch gussets on these chine corners. But I can't find 1-inch plywood anywhere, or I'd have to special order it. So I thought, well, and then I got to looking at my bolts, and I've got a bunch of 3/8-inch carriage bolts. They are 6 inches long, which is a little longer than I'd need, but I need to really kind of find a place to use those, so I could use those here on these frames to bolt these frames together when, you know, the plywood to the frames. So I decided to go ahead and do the 2 layers of 2x material, 2x6s, and he actually calls for 5-inch, and I'm going 6-inch here, so, or the full 6-inch, which is 5.5 actual. So these will be nice, big, heavy frames, and I'm going to put 3/4-inch plywood gussets on then. And since I can't get the 1-inch or don't have access readily to the 1-inch, I'm going to go marine grade here, which is going to be a little bit stronger, a little bit better quality than just the construction grade plywood. So that should be more than adequate, because like I said, these joints are going to overlap. These 2x's overlap here at the corners. That's going to give you a lot of extra strength. That'll make up for a slightly less thickness on the plywood gussets, I'm sure. And it's still going to be very, very, very robust. And here on these ends, I think I'm going to be able to use these cutouts. I did here, this one's already glued on. I think I'm going to just be able to use these cutouts and bring this back to dimension. The saw that I'm using to cut these is a little mini 4.5-inch circular saw, and it really is quite handy for this sort of thing. It's a lot more comfortable to use, and it seems like I can actually get it more accurate cuts with this thing. And one thing, it's got the blade on the left, which means I can see the blade, the cut, easier than if you got to lean over the saw to see it. Most of these saws have right hand blades. Don't know why they do that. But anyway, yeah, so that works quite well, and also it leaves a much narrower kerf than a full-size circular saw would. So I'm not losing as much material due to the kerf that I would with a bigger saw. So this is pretty close to nominal width if I glue this piece back on again. Now that might not always be possible. I may have a screw up here and there, and it might not always be possible to use this piece on the inside. We'll see what happens. But other than just very time consuming, you know, it's going all right, I guess. I can see maybe getting 1 frame set done a day by the time you get it all laid out, and yeah, it's a lot of fussing around. With these angles, you got to be real careful, especially with this top piece when you're putting the top piece on, to get it lined up to the other piece properly. And I've been using, you know, a square, you know, to find my corners and edges and whatnot to get it into perfect alignment. But I don't have any of that plywood yet, so tomorrow I'm going to do a run to Menards to get plywood. And we'll pick up several sheets of that 3/4-inch marine grade plywood, and we'll use those for gussets. I'm just getting ready to do another layup on this stem piece, so we'll get that done tonight yet, and I'll probably call it a day. I'll wait with gluing this up until tomorrow. Not sure what kind of glue I'm going to use yet to glue these pieces together and these joints and stuff. I do have a fair amount of this construction adhesive that I used when I put the gussets on this building here. I could use some of that. Could just well use that up. I guess it's waterproof construction adhesive. It should work just fine for these. And I don't know about gluing up the two boards together then. I suppose whatever glue I use on the joints I'll just continue on, but I don't know if I'll put a few screws in there to hold it together initially. Because once this joint is, glued together, it's going to be pretty easy then to do the gussets, because the piece will be stable then. Where if you're just doing one layer, you'd have to screw one side of the gusset on, put things together, flip it over, and do the other side. Where here, once you get this joint done, it should be stable. We'll see, but tomorrow I got to get the plywood, and I'm going to get this done. Another layer on here tonight yet.